morning, everyone. My name is Aarti Baliga. I'm a research scientist at WinLab. Um, the talk that I'm presenting today are basically research highlights from my thesis work. So let's take a look at a typical scenario that we face every day. Alice here is conducting an online transaction where she provides her most confidential information, and she relies on the antivirus software that's installed on her system to alert her of any possible infections. Now imagine a kind of an attack, also known as a stealth attack of a rootkit, that can modify her operating system in such a way that will render all the malware completely invisible. So neither Alice nor the antivirus that runs on her system is able to detect the presence of this particular malware. So this is also commonly known as a rootkit. And since these kind of commodity operating systems now also appear on other kind of mobile devices, such as smartphones, um, such devices face a threat from stealth attacks as well. Okay, so in this talk, I will be presenting two of my key contributions. The first contribution is that I identified a new class of stealth attacks on the operating system kernel that were completely undetectable by research techniques available at that time, as well as commercial rootkit detectors. And the second contribution was an automated rootkit detection technique that could detect classic as well as this new class of stealth attacks that we identified. So what was so new about this class of stealth attacks? While studying classic rootkits, we found that classic rootkits behaved in a particular way. What they did was they altered the operating system kernel to hide user-level malicious programs, which means attackers basically focused on incorporating all the malice in user-level programs and only altered the operating system so that they could hide the presence of these user-level programs. And therefore, they only ended up modifying a small set of data structures in the operating system kernel which were capable of influencing the user-level programs. So what we proposed was a new class of stealth attacks, basically, which did not have any user-level counterparts. So the entire attack was carried out by altering data structures in the kernel, and because this was stealthy by design, it could not be detected by any classical methods that were available at that time. So this basically increased the attack surface in such a way that called for a more comprehensive detection solution. And we developed several proof of concept attack prototypes to demonstrate this particular threat. And I will be quickly going over one such attack. We call this attack the entropy pool contamination attack. The diagram here basically shows the Linux pseudo-random number generator with several entropy pools and deriving input from external entropy sources. So the goal of this attack was to attack the random number generator in the kernel in such a way that the PRNG basically produces weak random numbers. So since all applications that run on the system, as well as other kernel functions, such as TCP generation of TCP SYN numbers and so on, rely on the PRNG to provide secure random numbers, they are all affected in turn. So this attack focused on basically altering some data structures that were used by the PRNG. And therefore, it was stealthy by design, and without leaving any trails behind, this attack could be there on your system and affect it without you even realizing it. So how would you detect an attack like this? So this brought us to the second contribution. We developed a new rootkit detection technique that uses data invariants as integrity specifications. We needed a method to basically infer invariants automatically and uniformly well across control as well as non-control data. And our prototype basically automatically detects invariants detects invariant violations when a rootkit tries to change the invariant. So let's take a quick look at the system architecture. We have a page fetcher component which basically is responsible for fetching memory snapshots. It is fed to a data structure extractor which extracts data structure shapes from these raw memory snapshots, and it uses offline definitions that we extracted from the kernel source code. Now, these are two linked lists that the data structure extracted. Now, the tool can be run in two modes. There's a training mode in which it learns different kinds of invariants. So basically, the data structure values are fed into an invariant generator, and the invariant generator uses several templates, like in this case, the subset template, to figure out whether there is a invariant between these two lists.
You got some sort of scheduling timer doing all that? Did you set up a time frame for each of these things? Is your mouse being pressed on?
My mouse was malfunctioning. Take the mouse out. Check.
What do you mean? Apologize to the internet.
Huh?
Apologize to the internet.
To the internet.
Yeah, so you can do this whenever you restart. Just make a noise so that way you can mark where it is in the tape.
Mm-hmm.
And then you make another noise at the end like nothing.
Right.
You can mark the endpoints and you don't know how long it takes.
Oh, and does all that automatically?
No, you can, it's just
Okay.
recording.
Okay.
I'm just saying, when she starts, you say now, then you can hear that
Okay.
on the tape, and then you can figure out.
Well, no, yes.
Oh.
Where was I?
You were in the
The training phase, right?
yes.
I don't know why that happened.
Yeah. You have to look into the laptop.
Okay.
Then you win the next one, the WiMAX thing.
No, that
you
just
can-
accidentally went to the end of
No,
the
she was here.
presentation.
She was about to
Yeah.
talk about training sequences.
I don't even have that in my talk. It's just extra slides in there.
Now.
So,
Whatever.
in the detection mode, these inferred invariants are used to check whether this particular property is violated by the data structure. And that's the crux of it.
So this is not in your slide, the WiMAX thing.
No, look, it's
Okay,
in
just
the
stay in
end.
this mode. Maybe this does not skip now.
So a prototype basically automatically extracted about 236,000 invariants, which we used to detect rootkits, and it had a spurious invariant rate of 0.235%. We successfully tested it against 23 rootkits, both classic rootkits as well as the others that we developed, and it could successfully detect all of them without any false negatives, and it imposed a low performance overhead of around 0.49%. So I'll quickly mention this other work that I did while I was interning at VMware. So what I did was developed an introspection API to detect and contain rootkits automatically within a virtualized operating system. So what you see here is a VMware workstation software. These components here are basically hooks into the VMware software, and it's talking to this particular application, which can basically be any kind of intrusion detection application. So it registers events of interest with the hypervisor, and it can then infer rules and detect anomalies inside the guest OS. And I looked at basically the rootkit problem and how to contain those in a virtualized environment. So just to mention, my research broadly falls into two themes. First is security of computing systems. So I talked about securing operating systems and very briefly about virtual machine. I've also worked in securing applications using transactional memory. In securing emerging wireless networks, I've primarily worked in vehicular ad hoc networks where I've looked at security, privacy, and auditability issues. And I've also worked on building an efficient security framework for WiMAX. And my current work also focuses on security in cognitive radio platforms. And these are a list of some of the other projects that I would be happy to talk offline. Thank you.